John chapter 3, verse 30. He must become greater, I must become less. I like the way that the New King James puts it. It says, he must increase, I must decrease. Not exactly the New Year's resolution thing that you hear people posting on social media. Normally you hear people, or rather you see people saying things like, I want to do more this year, and I want to be more, and I want to do better. Though maybe if you're trying to lose a few pounds, maybe this idea of becoming less is maybe, well, you know what? We'll just leave that where it is. So what is John saying here? Why is John saying this about himself, that he needs to decrease? What brought John to say something like that? Well, we have to back up a little bit and see what exactly was happening in the situation to make John say something like that. So if we were to back up just a little bit, just a few verses ahead, and we see here that Jesus and his disciples decide that they're going to go down to the river and they're going to begin to baptize people. It just so happens that John, the Baptist, is also there baptizing people. And so they're both at the river and they're both baptizing. And yet Jesus' crowds are growing much, much greater than John's crowds. Someone realizes this and they come over to John and they say, John, that man that you baptized recently, he's at the river. He's just on the other side. And everyone's going to him to be baptized. Now, John had a decision to make here. He could either be upset that I baptized Jesus. Why are his crowds greater than mine? Or he could take the opportunity and teach a lesson about humility. And that's exactly what John does. He begins to tell this person about the coming of Jesus and how this is a fulfillment of prophecy, and that really John is saying, it's my pleasure that I even get to be in the same river as him. And so then at the end of this whole scenario, this is what John says to finish off his statement about humility. He says, he must become greater, I must become less. So now the question is, what do you and I do with this scripture? What purpose does this have for us in our life? And what purpose does this have for us in our 21 days of prayer and fasting? Well, I think there's a couple of things that we need to take away from this. Number one is that we have to learn to celebrate when others succeed. See, if you think about it, John and Jesus were friends. In fact, in some ways, they were almost brothers. And yet, John and Jesus are doing ministry in the same place at the same time and in the same way, but Jesus' crowds are growing. His popularity is growing, and John's is not. But yet what John does is he sees his friend's success. He sees that his friend is doing so well, and he decides, I'm going to celebrate this. I'm going to be happy and proud to see my friend do better. See, what's going to happen in 2023 as you and I are pursuing greater things this year, and hopefully we're praying audacious prayers for greater things to happen in this year. And I don't know if that's in your business, or if it's in your family, or maybe it's just something going on in your personal life, or maybe it's in your ministry. But as we begin to see others have the success that we're praying for, can we learn to celebrate when we see them succeed? The second thing that we have to do is we have to become very careful that in our pursuit for success and in our pursuit for great things this year, we don't forget who actually deserves the glory and the praise. It's Jesus. At the end of it all, if we're not pointing others to him, pointing others to ourselves, we must become less so that he can become more.